I'm reviewing assignment 6, 1-point perspective drawing. I'm going to review the assignment, show some examples, and then do a demo. First, I wanted to talk about the assignment, and by starting that off, I just wanted to help you understand that how important perspective drawing is. If you're going to be drawing anything in realism or feeling like real life, understanding perspectives and how to draw in perspective is critical. Okay, so this 1-point perspective is a more simple way of understanding. Well, I wouldn't say it's simpler. That's why we start out here, because it is simpler. There's also a 2-point perspective that we'll cover. But as the name implies, there's only one point that lines converge to show distance. So the idea here is we're really trying to show perspective, meaning things get smaller as they go back in the distance. And we're doing that on a 2-dimensional flat piece of paper. That's the idea here. Okay, so this is going to be a no shading drawing. We're just understanding the concept with line, but the line can have some variety in it. So it could have some line quality, meaning darker and lighter, and you could vary the line quality based on what you're drawing. So maybe a leaf is going to have a different line quality than a brick, which may have a different line quality than glass or metal. Pattern. A pattern is something that is repeated. So let's say if you're drawing a wallpaper or a pattern on a couch, or even those lines in a sidewalk could be considered a pattern. But so keep in mind pattern, and then keep in mind texture. And texture is something that it's unlike pattern, but it helps describe the surface of the object, like grass. You can kind of imagine or think of the texture of grass compared to, and I mentioned this again, a piece of glass, or a bricked wall, or a stucco wall, or tile. So all of them have a different texture to them. Tile can actually be maybe classified under pattern. But anyway, hopefully you get the idea, and brick might as well. Here's the assignment: is review this project sheet, and then look at the videos. I'll have videos linked here at the end that you'll need to review to really understand how to do this, because reviewing it verbally and showing examples can only go so far. So what you'll do is, in 1-point perspective, you'll create a drawing showing a minimum of 9 cubes all around a single vanishing point, and all these 9 cubes, their vanishing point does go to this one single vanishing point. And then I want you to create 3 drawings of any of the following. Could be a room with at least 3 pieces of furniture, a road with at least 3 buildings, an alley or a corridor or a passageway with at least 3 objects in the passage. And those objects could also be like passages out of the alley as you're going down. Remember to show line quality, pattern, texture in your drawings. Each drawing should fill half of a newsprint paper, then as normal, photograph, put them in Portfolio, and then link to Canvas. Okay, so let me show you some examples, and this will be on page 2. And these are really good examples, okay? But you can see how, okay, first of all, we have pattern, right? See this pattern along the side, there's pattern in this brick, there's pattern in this chain link fence, there's pattern on the sidewalk. Then we look at texture. There's texture in this telephone pole, there's texture in the tree, texture in the weeds or grass. And let's just look at the perspective. And the easy way to find where your 1-point perspective, where is it going to, is you find a line and you follow it down. Like if you had a ruler, you might draw a really light line along this. And then you'll find a bottom line, like say this edge of the grass right here. And where those cross, which is approximately here, is, well, is that true? Anyway, it's in here somewhere because you can see these things, it might be here. They all converge. They all point to this one point, okay? Okay, so hopefully this helps describe what's going on with 1-point perspective. Here's another drawing of it, a little, not a great quality. Here's another one where all the lines converge, probably in here somewhere. Yeah, so you can see all kinds of texture and pattern and line quality. So line quality, actually this is a really good, because we have some really dark and then some really kind of light wispy lines on the grass, and it gets lighter back here, darker in the foreground, thicker, because they're closer to us. And we kind of get that same sense here where we have strong dark lines in the foreground, and as it goes back they get a little bit lighter. So let's move on to the demo. Okay, hi, this is Chad. So we are going to get going with, this is a 1-point perspective. Okay, so it's actually pretty darn simple. You're going to choose, at least for this first page, we're gonna, and the other ones are too, but you're gonna choose a point on your page right here. And what you do is you draw a bunch of squares on the page, and they should be all around, and we want 9 of them. So I'm going to draw one here, and the idea is these should be parallel. Okay, probably maybe draw a big one out here. Let's draw a flat one. Okay, and then I'm just going to make these into little cubes here. And I'm trying to make them square. I may not do a fantastic job, but they're going to be close. Oops. Finish that. I'm using a ruler on newsprint, and this is a 2B pencil. But if you have an HB, that's great, or if you have a B, that's great. 2B isn't totally necessary because it's kind of darker than maybe it should be. Okay, so I'm going to get a eraser and clean this up a little bit. Clean up here, sorry about the printing. Okay, all right, great. Now what we're going to do is connect these things very lightly to this point. And there's some lines that we're not going to draw. So let's start with this square right here. I don't need to connect this all the way, but you can see there's a light line, another light line, and another light line. Now I should probably connect this one, but it's behind the cube, and so that's not gonna, I'm gonna disregard that. So Now we get to determine how deep or how thick our cube is. And I'm going to probably make it something like this. And then we'll now notice this is parallel to this line, and this is parallel to this line. It's not like this, it's not like this, it's not like that. So now I can darken in these lines. I could do it with a ruler, or in fact, maybe I'll just do that with a ruler because that's a longer one. Okay, so there's my first one, and now I can erase these construction lines here because they help me get from there. They help me build, so they're construction lines, and we don't need to see them afterwards. Okay, this is what we're after. So we'll do this one right here. Some construction lines here and here. And then this one is going to be, I'm not going to draw it because it's behind the square or rectangle, and this one is behind it as well. So now I'm just going to so here we have so this is all 1 point perspective. Everyone good with that? I hope. I mean, here's one with 3. Maybe I'll just keep going because I know some folks, and if you got it, you can fast forward it, but if you don't, it really does help to see multiple examples. Hope everyone's doing okay today. Hope school isn't too stressful and that you're able to learn from drawing here with us. Now, you know what? I'm also using a ruler. You don't have to use an actual ruler. You could use a piece of paper or something. Let's see. Just because we're just talking straight edges here. Okay. So I think you have a ruler in your kit. If not, just a piece of paper will work well. Because you just need a very light, your pencil just needs to rest against something as it draws. Okay. And then we can erase these construction lines. This one, and I might just draw a little bit this time because I know I'm not going to make these that deep. So we're starting to, hopefully you're understanding that these, so notice this is how they start, a flat shape. Now let's say we did something a little different, like we did the letter A. That's not what the assignment says. Yeah, that's true. It's not, but let me just show you that it can be done with all kinds of shapes. And what this does, it just gives depth. That's what this 1 point perspective exercise does here. so we have a big block, letter A. And if we were to draw our perspective lines, now I have it right above, so these are going to be a little bit, this is hard to work with. I'm just going to move over to the ruler just because it's a lot easier. It doesn't, the other ones kind of stick into the paper a little bit. And maybe I would put this one in as well. Okay, so we can make it just a little bit, not very deep, but just a little bit deep. And this is what, like the old Superman comics, this is how they made their lettering. Yeah, that is basically on the same line. Yeah, so anyway, you can move those letters around, move blocks around. Hopefully you get that. So this is the this is part one. Okay, so now we're gonna do the corridor or the hallway or the room. Great. Okay, so I'm gonna define a few things here. First, I'm gonna draw the back wall to this interior. And what's going to be important here on this 1-point perspective is to make sure that my ruler is parallel to the edge of my page. And I'm just eyeing it, I'm not measuring it. You guys are probably seeing this at a better angle going, whoop, that's not right. But I mean, not parallel. And I can, oh boy, that is so not parallel right now. Let me try that again. Okay. A little better. Okay. Back wall to an interior space, okay? And where is my, we're gonna put in the vanishing point here, but my question is, how tall are we? You know, is our eye gonna be up here or is our eye gonna be down here? Let's put it up here. Okay, so this is where our vanishing point will be. And to determine where the floor to wall corner is, I'm gonna line it up with the perspective or the vanishing point and this point where these cross. Okay, and I'll do the same on these other edges. Okay, all right, so far so good. And so now we're gonna put some furniture in here. So what I'm gonna do probably is put some bunk beds in, and they're gonna be a little bit lower than my eye level. So I'm gonna put a cube right, or a box right here. And this will be the front side of the bunk beds. And so I'm going to start out, if I'm putting in furniture, I'm going to start them out with a box. Okay. Again, I can't. I'm trying to draw a parallel line to this one, but I can't see it, so I need to flip it around so I can see what I'm doing. If I had a clear ruler, it might be a lot easier. But it's just a simple box out in front here. And then how tall do I want it? I want it a little below eye level, like about here. So still a box. It's not going to here, it's just a box. Is that parallel? Not wonderful. That's a little better. Okay. So I'm getting rid of some of these construction lines. So here we have the front side of our bunk beds. And then I'm going to put the depth. So we're going to put now a three-dimensional box, or like a big shipping container. So yeah, now that I have this line in, I don't need to draw these two lines because they're already there. Here and here, that's where the bunk beds are right against the wall. And then I'm going to draw these corners going to the vanishing point. Okay, so we're going to see just a slight bit of the top of the beds. Okay, and then we've done this one already. So lastly, we will need to make this top line, and it needs to be parallel to this line here, and should intersect with where those cross. So great. Okay, so here's the space where the bunk beds fit in. Here. Now, what we need to do now is kind of determine a few bits. I'm just going to lighten these lines up a little bit so they don't get confusing to me. So I'm going to put some space under mattress 1. And I'm going to make these pretty simplistic, almost like a jail cell. Okay. So then I need, this is the bottom of the beds. And I'll probably put some depth to that leg right there. This one has some depth to it already. This line is probably going to travel all the way up pretty solidly. Okay, and this line will as well. Now I want to make the other underside of the bed. And that should be okay, just making a block here. All right, so far so good. How I'm going to make this again, not very fancy. It's going to be kind of a prism type setting. Okay, and maybe I shouldn't have darkened that in completely, but in fact, yeah, let me get rid of those bits. And now there is a bar that continues running up the side. And maybe not so far, because I want to have that be the mattress, if that makes any sense. Another parallel line. And this is going to be a very solid line going down the side here. And then we'll continue this edge. Another parallel line here. Oops, give some room for my pencil. Okay. And then the inside edge here. Okay. Boy, I made those really tall, didn't I? That's okay. Yeah, I should have moved that down. Oh well. Mattress. I'm going to put the mattress just kind of sitting on here. So like this type of thing. And if continue, we're going to see it go like this. Now this bar here should continue up the side, and then we should see the thickness of it appearing here. That's a little bit thin. Okay. Okay. So continuing on with this mattress. And we are going to see this back bar. What I should do is make a little cube right here, and then actually it should be kind of maybe this is called angle iron, if that makes any sense. So we're seeing the inside of this, and then we could put this person made their bed pretty well. It's all kind of tucked in and neat. Oh, maybe this is an army barracks, not a prison. Okay, so this is wrong. What I should have done on that, if I wanted it straight across, was say, that's where I want. Yeah, there we go. And I want it folded down. I've seen them do that. This is the kind of bed that you can flip a coin on, and I think that's what. Now we're just going to draw a really kind of simple pillow here. And I could make sure this goes in perspective, why not? Okay, and we could erase these lines in here. It's kind of construction lines. It's kind of a wavy pillow, but we're looking for this is a sloppy soldier. What we could do is put some lines on this, but I don't think I'm going to do that. What I should have done is moved all of this down. And I apologize for my lack of planning, but there it is. This is going to be another mattress up here. And we can see where this is going to be folded again right here. And then we can see where that looks kind of crazy. Put another. It gets really pretty distorted here. That makes me think that one is not correct. And that should be parallel. Okay, well, Phil's a little weird right now. Oh, that's what. This mattress looks a lot larger. So I might have these things stick up a little bit and then have my mattress. I showed it ending here, but well, whatever. Keep this. Whoa, that feels really messed up. Yeah, that's why it is messed up. Wow, that feels like it's like halfway down the bed. It is. Look at that. You can see a lot of the edge of the pillow here. Okay. Make sure. And this should be parallel. Okay. All right, back edge. Okay. This one I put a thickness on. I don't think I need to do that because I said this was angle iron already. So we're going to consider that angle iron. This one should be back here somewhere. So I'm going to get a little small eraser, or smaller, to fix that. You see the difference? It's like we see that full thing and then we see part of that. And then we can go around and erase these connecting areas. Okay, all right. Next, we might want to put some let's put a desk right here. Okay, so the desk honestly will probably come out as far as the beds, and I'm gonna, again, just like before, we'll make a box to show the front plane of the desk. And then we have the back one here, so now we'll just connect those. Like a really high desk. Let's drop it down a little bit, just because we think we should. Okay, we'll try that out. Yeah. Okay, that might be a little better. Now, the desk is kind of slammed in the corner. We're going to make a little opening on the desk. put a set of drawers over here, perhaps. And then we can also say how far back this desk goes. It goes back to here. And then there's an interior line. Okay, so we see the wall here, and all this is going to be gone. Hopefully this is making sense. Put a little drawer right here. Let's put a little pull knob on it. And then we could put a few drawers down the front of this. And we'll line it up so we're and these seem like pretty big drawers, but that's okay. Now what we could have done is put the, and maybe should, but I'm not going to do it now, but we could make that the flat plane of the desk stick out a little bit and be a little bit taller than the desk. In fact, we could make a little that type of thing. Hopefully this is making sense to you. This is going to be tucked in, and this is kind of the edge, and it rounds. We're just using line here. Okay, no shading. Could put up a little picture frame above the desk. And yeah, this probably should drop back just a little bit. And then we should see the depth of the frame here. And then if we're doing correctly, probably should see it drop in here just a little bit. That's a little pretty deep frame. Looks like it's about this thick. So that might be, I have no idea what that is. That looks ridiculous, but you're getting the idea. Draw a box and then fill it, and then put some depth to it and then cut it out is what the idea is. All right. I did want to show, let's say we wanted to make a circular light right here. Let me do that real fast so you can understand how we do that. I'm going to first start out with a box. Okay. Or I'm sorry, a square in perspective. Okay, so let's say this is going to be some kind of a recessed light. So this is we're starting off with a square on this one, not a box. But this is how you draw a circle in perspective. Okay. So we're starting off with that. Next, let me quickly sharpen my pencil. Okay, so next what you'll do is you'll want to find the center point. Which is here. And I drew those a little bit dark. And then I'm going to divide that in half and then in half again. Okay. Okay, great. So so if this were if we were looking at this on a very flat surface, this is what we have now, and we want to, this is the idea, okay, but drawing it on here. So notice how close these lines come, or how parallel they are to these points. Notice that these edges are quite far away from the center of these little squares. So if I'm going to draw of some kind. Anyway, that's how that works. What else should I show you? Yeah, okay, so one last thing. If we wanted to put, like, say, tile along this wall, or maybe on the floor. Why don't we do tile on the floor? Actually, tile on the floor is easy. No, it's not. No, it's not. Tile on the floor is not easy. So what I'm going to do is simply, really quickly and easily mark off, because this is flat, right? So this is, oops. My paper's curling up, causing me problems. I'm going to mark off an inch. Across. And then what I'll do is I'm going to draw these lines, but I'm only going to the back wall. I don't need to go all the way to the vanishing point. Okay. So this is kind of the easy part, because the hard part is, you know, how deep are those? Oops, I should have drawn under the bed. For that matter, we should have the edge of the wall right there. So if we're gonna leave it as like maybe wood slats, that's great. But if we wanted to really do, if we wanted to do tile, it's a little bit, there's a couple more steps, because we need to determine the depth of these tiles, because they do get smaller as they go back. Okay, so what we would do is now I gotta think, how do we do this? Well, I remember how to do it. Okay, well, let's just try it out. We're gonna guess on the depth of this first one. This is too long for a square. That's too short. That feels maybe about right for a square. Maybe in there. Okay. So now we'll draw that line, and then we'll make the rest of these the same size. So how we do that is, this is going to be memory. Trying to remember how to do this. Okay, so now that we have our center of this tile, and the depth of this is going to be a judgment call, but this is kind of like our master tile, right? So once we have this tile center found, and we do that with these corner to corner lines, then we draw a line back into perspective here. Okay, so there we are. And at this point, let me make sure that that is pretty clear, because that's the point we need. And we don't need these other construction lines any longer. Okay. Great. So, oops, I've erased quite a bit here. All right, so now to find how deep the next tile is going to be, I'm going to go from this corner through the center to that point, and then I'm going to draw a horizontal line where those two intersect. Oops, that moved slightly on me. Okay, so the next is I'm going to find where the next one goes, I'm going to do the same thing with that tile, and then draw a horizontal line. You probably saw that as soon as I did it, but regardless. Okay, so 1 point perspective, interior. Exterior is very similar, where we would have a point, and maybe we have a street, sidewalks, and you could do the same tile trick on those sidewalk lines, and remember those should be exactly horizontal. Could do the center points of a street, and then the buildings, which are going to be flat squares, and then we'll come down here and determine the thickness. So we might do a higher building here, flat. Here's our flat square right here and here. We could put in windows and maybe doors. And if we're going to do windows along the side, they are going to be flat. then these would go at a kind of an angle. I can put some doors. And then we can just keep going. Like, here's another building. Maybe this is a longer one. And yeah, maybe it's the same type of, perhaps this is an empty, maybe this is a road going in here. And there's a big building on the corner. And this is going to be in perspective. Maybe this is a narrow building. But here's our flat. And I'm going to erase where this building crosses it. You with me? Okay. Okay, exterior, interior. All right, great. Thanks, everyone.